We discuss Enzo Maresca transfer plans as we are learning. We are making initial contact to sign 2 marquee signings this summer, and we also learn about Enzo Maresca's preseason plans. So the summer window should hopefully be the final crazy one that we see, because I can't keep doing these, but it feels like this could be the ultimate one that can finally, hopefully, get us ready now to start challenging seriously at this football club again. So I hope you guys enjoy the content. Please, let's try and get 3k likes for the video. Every like I get really means a lot, and of course, share your thoughts and opinions too. So let's get straight into things. Waste no more time. Now let's continue these small reports, because we're getting some insight behind Enzo Maresca's plans for this preseason, courtesy of the Telegraph. They reveal that players could be in a shock when it comes to dietary requirements, because Enzo Maresca's fitness coach in Marcos Alvarez is known to be a very strict dietitian. He's banning things like sauces, ketchup, barbecue, fruit juices, salt and pepper, fried eggs, the whole works basically. And who knows if within that time Alvarez has softened up his stance a little bit. In my opinion, I think having food with no salt and pepper, I think that's a bit mad. And I think to myself, we've signed a lot of men from different cultures like South America, Africa, Europe, where, food is like part of your culture, it's important. And I just, having bland food, are you really getting like strong benefits? Are there going to be like massive margins of improvements in players because they're lacking seasoning? I'm not too sure about that, but equally, listen, I'm sitting on my chair comfortably as a YouTuber, right? But I guess my only fear would be, is this sustainable? Because in the long term, will players accept this forever? I'm not too sure, but equally, it's not the most like serious thing, and I'm not trying to highlight that as one. But to move on to more interesting news, it seems like Enzo Maresca is preparing for his first day of work on the 1st of July preseason by giving the players tactical homework assessments during the summer. I think that's right. As we learned in yesterday's video, Maresca here wants to challenge for the Premier League title. He won't be wasting a single day at all. He is already anticipating working with the squad, and he doesn't want to waste any time. He wants the team to be fully focused and ready, because from the 1st of July, he'll only have 3 weeks to work with the squad, and then after that, we travel to the States for the next 2 weeks to complete, of course, pre-season tours. And it won't be ideal, knowing the fact that we also have the Euros this summer, so it won't be the most ideal preparation for an Enzo Maresca, but I love the proactive nature. I like the fact that he's already on the ball, and it's his mentality. This mentality that made him the favourite to take over, right? So again, he definitely is someone that matches his words and his actions together. I think that's a good thing. And I'm sure the players will also feel like, okay, this is a serious manager, this is a good impression you're making. And we know exactly on the first day of pre-season, we must come in ready and prepared to start working, start being serious, and start getting ready for next season. And to end things really quickly, reports mention that Maresca is actually happy that players like Ben Chilwell, Gusto, Reece James, fullbacks who are core and important to his tactical ideas, will be part of pre-season from day one. And let's see what he does with them. Could Gusto play as an inverted left back? Time will tell. Will Ben get more opportunities? I think so. He's on a big contract, and I know that for some reason he's not a popular guy, even though I get the frustration. I mean, he's injured like 3-4 times a season, but I think we forget that most times when we see his inconsistent displays, it's because he's still finding full fitness. And I think we have to afford him some grace, because he performed very well under Tuchel. Him and Rudiger were excellent together down the left-hand side, and Ben could also invert and overlap under Thomas Tuchel, so he's not a liability like that. But anyway, let's see what happens during preseason. But this is nice news to know. And now let's move on to discussing the big report today, and we discuss Enzo Maresca transfer plans for this summer. This morning we got a massive transfer dump from The Athletic. We learned more insight and context behind moves for players we are interested in and players we are not. But the positions we're still looking at a goalkeeper, but that's in brackets. Now, as we know from last night, Maresca sees Sanchez as his number 1, but remember, he wants to assess him during pre-season first. Links to other goalkeepers have not died down anytime soon, and I think that's a position that's the least of our priorities at this point in time. But as the window continues on, we will see if we make a move for a goalkeeper. For the other positions, that's 2 centre-backs, a marquee attacking player. Make sure you guys stay tuned to hear me discuss who this player is, and obviously a striker too. And contact has been made for the marquee attacking player and the striker we want. Now, if you guys remember from the end of last summer, we know that this summer, the plan was always to sign a marquee attacking player. And I think as fans, one thing we lacked last season was that additional presence of this difference maker in the team. It's a shame that we couldn't rely upon Nkunku to be this, but if you have ambitions to mount title challenges, you need more difference makers. And I do think there is room for one more in this team. And I think it's the best solution, to be honest with you. Outside of that too, strikers is the massive priority, and naturally we are curbing some of the ambition up front that we originally were showing before. Also, there are suggestions that we may be more flexible in terms of not exclusively signing players who are only youth focused. Now, I'm sure most will be youth focused, but I think the soon to come signing of Tosin Adarabioyo is evidence that we are a bit more flexible this summer. Now, we did learn about some interesting names that the club do admire that we are keeping our attentions on. They include Athletic Bilbao winger in Inaki Williams. We're looking at Brighton striker and Evan Ferguson. And there is admiration for Eze of Crystal Palace too. In the case of Inaki Williams, that won't happen. I think he's way too expensive. I think he's earning around 200,000 a week at Athletic Bilbao. So unless we're looking to offer more money, that won't happen. And I think personally for him, he is one more Olise season away from being one of the undisputed top wingers in Europe. I think he remains at Athletic Bilbao. And I think in the case of Evan Ferguson, listen, I see the talent and merit behind him. Very young, only 19 years old. I think he's got a good all-round game. You know, can hold the ball up, running behind, good shooting. But I just think that after the season he had last season, where a lot of injuries disrupted his game time, where he wasn't necessarily the first choice undisputed starter. I personally think Joao Pedro is a much better player than him, especially at their current ages. And if you were to sign anyone from Brighton, it would be Joao Pedro or it would be Valentin Barco. It wouldn't be anyone else, in my opinion. And I think that Evan Ferguson needs to announce himself at least for the next 2 seasons, because I just don't think Evan Ferguson right now at his current age is someone we should target, especially considering he'll be an absolute fortune and there's no guarantee he will fulfill his potential with us, with the expectations, pressure and demands that's placed on you. So I think we ignore these two. But I think the main context we cannot forget is that sales are the most important thing that really determine the size of our transfer budget. Now, the players we know who are the favourites to go: Armando Broja, Lukaku, Mudson, Chalobah, Hutchinson. We're now hearing Alex Matos, Conor Gallagher. These are players that in a successful window, if you were to sell all of them, you're bringing in at least guarantees of nearly 200 million for all their combined sales. Now, I'd be surprised if we sold all of them. It's a lot harder to get done, but I think most will go, and they will go towards giving us a bigger transfer budget. That is the key thing here. So hopefully before this month ends, we have at least 2 guaranteed sales, because this will go a long way in giving us more flexibility with spending for Maresca this summer. I think this is the best solution we have left. The fact we missed out on Champions League football, that really impacted our potential to spend this window, hence why we are now slowing off interest for players like Osimhen. Hence why players like Ivan Toney, Victor Gyökeres won't be looked at as well. And personally, I think we have to accept this. It's a shame, but without Champions League football, you can't do anything. And there is an admission from the football club that they admit that they have overspent on signing players, and I think we all know who they could be. Caicedo was definitely one. He should have been signed a month or 2 in advance, and his price would have been a lot less than. You're looking at players like Mudryk and a few others, and I think they did that thinking that Champions League football would be a guarantee for us, and they've learned lessons the hard way. So we have to be a lot more responsible with our spending. And personally, I can accept sacrificing efforts in Osimhen and others, because this summer there are still some excellent buys that you can get for fees that cost way less. One of the marquee players we want to sign this summer is Michael Olise of Crystal Palace. Now, he's garnering tons of attention behind the scenes. I've been hearing so many unofficial rumors for the past few months now, and they all come courtesy of one man in particular, one beautiful man, and his name is Joe Shields, who's rising to more prominence within this football club. Of course, excellent efforts to sign guys like John Richards, Lavia, and of course his star guy in Cole Palmer. That was the big difference maker. He has been constantly on Olise's back, getting him to sign for us, pressuring the club to target him. And now that we aren't focusing on spending all our budget on a striker, and I've said this many times throughout this whole season, if we're not going to do that, we prioritize those funds on signing that marquee player, and I think that has to be Michael Olise, because I think, as I've been saying for a long time, he will be one of the most dominant attacking players in the Premier League. His FBref stats reflect this already. He is a difference maker creatively with his goals. He scores the match winners, he changes games, and I think this club is envisioning a Cole Palmer times Olise link-up. They would have seen how Olise and Eze combined together, and the Athletic article mentions that Eze is someone that we are very fond of and we like, but we have to be responsible with players like Khan's already here, Madueke. Next year, Esteval Willian, Kendrick Paz are coming to the football club. We can't sign everyone, and we have to be fair right now. Big clubs like Man United, City, even though the interest isn't concrete right now, and Newcastle are expressing interest, but we have some sentimental advantages that they do not have. Number one, Olise has always felt like there is some unfinished business with our football club because he came through our academy setup and ranks, so that works on our side. Number two, his brother, who recently signed a contract extension, is already within the academy setup. That helps us. And number three, the big thing, is that he does not have to uproot his whole life moving up north. He can stay where he's currently at, and as I said about Tosin Adarabioyo, it feels like a job promotion when you're leaving your smaller London club to sign for us. So we have all these things working in our favor, and he is someone that we've made contact with already to try and get this deal over the line. Now, my thought was always, is it pretty greedy now to target an Olise, knowing that Paez and Willian will come next year, and knowing that we have Madueke and Khan's. Now, Khan's injuries didn't work in his favour, but I think he'll be a good, strong squad option for us. Madueke, I thought he ended last season very strong. Look at his FBref stats, and I think this reflects that he is one of the most exciting young wingers in the Premier League. Very consistent dribbling stats. Could he feel like maybe the club isn't the best solution for him now because of this non-stop lack of confidence? Non-stop signing players in this position. Who knows? Equally, I would not be surprised if Madueke also finds game time as a left winger for next season, because he has done this for the England under-21s too. That could be a solution, but I think maybe we have to evolve how we see things, because with the demands now in Premier League football at this level, if you're competing for major honours now, it's not about having 11 strong players. You're looking at having 16 strong players, because every club has money in this league. The squad depth has increased dramatically, exponentially, and it means that if you're a bigger club now, you need to have access to more quality players that can change the games for you, knowing that you can make 5 subs as well as extra time now increasing. If you combine first half extra times and second half extra times, you're playing like at least bare minimum 10 minutes extra of football. So there is more need now to have a stronger squad if you are fighting for major honours, and I think this is something that we must embrace. I'm sure over the next 12 months, we're set to see more changes within our squad when Willian and Paez come. But I think in the meantime, this team can afford to have an Olise within the squad, and most importantly, in our first team. By the time your Paez's and Esteval Willians really come into prominence, they'll need at least 3 to 4 years minimum just to do that. That's how it works. So I do think that we're set for the short-term to long-term future with this transfer approach, and I do think that we are in desperate need for a world-class talent like Michael Olise. So share your thoughts and opinions. As I'm making this video, I'm even seeing French reports now confirming the fact that Olise contact has been made and he is the key guy we are going for this summer. And my friends, on that note, that's going to be me ending today's video, but there might be another one later today, so make sure you have those notification buttons, stay tuned to all things Blue Lions TV. So my friends, I hope you guys enjoy. Hit that like button. I'm Nini FC, this is Blue Lions TV. See you all soon. Cool.